Real Estate Intelligence Daily, August 11th, 2026. How AI, space colonies, and new money are rewiring property markets. Commercial real estate finance. Global commercial real estate finance is entering a strange but promising new equilibrium as CMBS and CRE CLO issuance rebound sharply while lenders quietly reprice risk around data centers, logistics hubs, and AI-heavy office corridors. Robust investor demand has pushed spreads toward multi-year lows, allowing multifamily and industrial deals to clear the market aggressively even as geopolitical tensions and rate uncertainty linger in the background. With the Federal Reserve holding its benchmark rate steady but signaling hawkish dissent, borrowers are treating today's window as a tactical moment to lock in financing before any renewed tightening ripples through cap rates and valuations. At the same time, structured recapitalizations like large private equity stakes and stress non-traded REIT portfolios are becoming the blueprint for avoiding fire sale liquidations and preserving core assets through liquidity crunches. The most forward-looking capital is already rotating toward AI-ready assets, power-dense sites, fiber-rich campuses, and logistics nodes that can serve both terrestrial e-commerce and future off-planet supply chains. In that context, underwriting is slowly evolving from a static rent roll exercise into a dynamic systems analysis of energy, compute, and resilience, where the question is not just can tenants pay, but can this asset plug into the next wave of human and machine activity? For investors who can read both the macro cycle and the technology curve, today's cautious optimism in CREF feels less like a late cycle sugar high and more like the opening chapter of a new infrastructure-driven era. PropTech and AI analytics. PropTech has shifted from nice-to-have software into the nervous system of modern real estate, with AI-native platforms now powering everything from grocery-anchored shopping center search to portfolio-wide risk scoring in near real time. Landlords and REITs are rolling out natural language interfaces that let brokers and tenants query availabilities the way they talk. Show me 20,000 square feet near a data center corridor with EV-ready parking, and the system responds with ranked options, modeled cash flows, and embedded ESG metrics. Behind the scenes, machine learning models ingest leasing data, macro indicators, and even anonymized mobility patterns to forecast absorption and renewal probabilities at the asset level, turning what used to be gut feel leasing strategies into probabilistic, continuously updated playbooks. As AI infrastructure demand explodes, analytics tools are flagging properties with latent power capacity, rooftop line of sight, or proximity to fiber backbones as potential micro data center or edge compute conversions, effectively re-rating entire submarkets overnight. The most ambitious platforms are already simulating multi-planet scenarios, modeling how orbital data centers, lunar mining bases, or Mars research colonies might reshape terrestrial logistics, insurance, and capital flows over the next few decades. Yet the tone remains human-centric. The best PropTech tools are designed not to replace people, but to free asset managers, leasing teams, and community planners to focus on relationships, design, and long-term stewardship. In this sense, AI analytics are becoming less about squeezing the last basis point of yield and more about orchestrating resilient, inclusive ecosystems where humans, robots, and algorithms can coexist and thrive. Construction development technology is quietly rewriting the cost structure and rate profile of new projects, even as headline construction spending data show only modest shifts at the national level. On the ground, developers are deploying robotics, modular fabrication, and AI-driven scheduling tools to compress timelines, reduce waste, and navigate persistent labor and materials constraints. Advanced project management platforms now integrate real-time feeds on steel, aluminum, and electronic component prices with site-level sensor data, allowing teams to resequence tasks and renegotiate procurement in response to volatility rather than simply absorbing it. Digital twins of entire districts, industrial parks, mixed-use campuses, and logistics corridors are being used to test different density, energy, and mobility configurations before a single foundation is poured, making it possible to design for both current demand and future AI, EV, and space-related infrastructure. Some of the most experimental work is happening at the intersection of terrestrial and extraterrestrial construction. Firms are studying regolith-based 3D printing on the moon and Mars, not as science fiction, but as R&D that can feed back into low-carbon, high-efficiency building methods on Earth. At the same time, community-oriented design frameworks are gaining traction, with residents and local businesses invited into immersive planning environments where they can experience proposed projects in VR and influence everything from public space layouts to micro-retail mixes. The result is a development landscape that feels both more technologically intense and more human, where cranes, robots, and algorithms are ultimately in service of livable, adaptable neighborhoods rather than abstract spreadsheets. Insurance and risk management. Insurance and rate management in real estate are undergoing a profound recalibration as carriers, reinsurers, and owners confront overlapping climate, cyber, and geopolitical shocks while trying to keep coverage affordable and accessible. AI-enhanced risk engines now ingest satellite imagery, IoT sensor data, building information models, and macroeconomic indicators to generate granular risk scores for individual assets, blocks, and regions, enabling underwriters to move beyond blunt zoning maps and historical loss ratios. In high-exposure markets, coastal cities, wildfire-prone suburbs, and flood-susceptible industrial